October 26th, Wednesday.
Hiya! Come on now!
Are you guys back at the mansion already? Rose Cooper, along with the woman who introduced herself as Marianne, find as well as some tips lying conscious of this. Something else. Happy anniversary. During the open house, Hannah pursued the estate agents to sell at the mansion. The Wrights also met the interior designer during the ride home. Hannah revealed that the mansion is their anniversary gift for Luke. Things seemed to be looking good until Hannah suddenly fell ill later that night. The place is bustling with movers, carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. Luke watches them to look like a hawk, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African Blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
Dang.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, That's Emma No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
You can see the exasperation and have to send the foreman an apologetic glance. Even Johans rolls his eyes as he goes by. Considering Luke is always like this during a project, Johans and I have gotten used to it. Poor Marianne, on the other hand, looks a bit stressed at seeing the gigantic mess before quickly going back to work. Everything just has to be perfect, exactly the way he wants it. One little thing out of place, one little thing that didn't fit the image clearly contracted in his head. Luke gets bent out of shape.
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let Johans and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
Taking him by the hand, I would lead him upstairs to our bedroom. This place has been arranged first so that we can get some rest, no matter what state the rest of the mansion is in. I'm definitely glad I can just lie down in a soft, comfy bed after what has been a busy morning. Watching Luke act like his life depended on getting this moved out is tiring all on its own. I think I have a whole day of this ahead of me. For the bed dip beside me as Luke sits down with a sigh.
Well, I can't wait for this to be over.
I don't know. It's fun seeing you all fired up. Here at home and not at work, you know.
You know I can't always be home, Hannah. I have a company to run, unless you've forgotten.
I haven't forgotten. You're the one who insists on being there to make sure each and every little thing is under control. I just really miss you sometimes, and I wish you were at home more often. Why, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True. Dogs are infinitely superior, of course.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess? I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute. If you think about it, a cat would be better.
We laugh. It's not always that we can just lie down and talk about these sorts of things. To joke around as if we were teenagers again, with very little problem in the way of responsibilities and roles. To hear his genuine, honest-to-goodness laughter is a rarity. This is just the second time as of late. I can only see it as signs of good things to come.
All good points. I guess we could just have kids. That is, if you prefer dealing with soiled nappies and sick as opposed to dead birds, mice, and litter boxes. I've already told Marianne about turning the second bedroom into a children's room.
I guess sometimes I don't know when I'm crossing a line. I didn't say that I'm a good comedian, did I?
Not this again.
What? I wasn't being serious.
It's not something you take the piss out of. Having a kid is a big responsibility, Hannah. We've talked about this, haven't we? I'm not ready to be a parent. I'd probably end up killing the little brat by the week's end.
I agree with him. Shoot. Which one would be better? Either lie him straight to the face or just apologize. Apologize. Feel guilty and uneasy even about bringing this topic up. I should have been. This isn't the first time I brought it out there, considering we've been married for 7 years. I should have learned my lesson. Talking about it has always gotten my disapproval. After all, this is one of the surefire ways to get Luke into a terrible
I'm
mood.
sorry. But I do think you...
Don't finish that sentence, Hana. Just don't. We know how this discussion ends. Let's not fight over what ifs and if onlys.
But what if we are going to have a family, Luke? What then?
I just told you. No what ifs.
We won't talk about it until you're ready.
Let's not talk about it then. Ever.
Silence that follows is stifling. I avert my gaze from him, favoring the view of our four-poster bed, overseeing his embittered expression. Just thinking of how insensitive I am for bringing it up makes me feel sick to my stomach. We stay still, neither of us dare make the first move to leave. To crash from downstairs. Cuts to the tension.
Oh, bloody hell, what is it now? I can't get away for 10 minutes without someone mucking something up. That better not be what I think it is. I know it's only an 8 million yen vase, but I swear, I
don't stop him as he storms off. He doesn't even bother to look my way. Yet I can still feel his eyes boring into me. Alone as per usual. What the hell? Okay, this is old stuff. This is new stuff. The right couple moved to their newly bought mansion today and was already preparing for a housewarming party. During a short break, the couple had a brief discussion about children. It didn't sound too welcoming of the idea. I really should be used to it by now. I can feel the minutes tick by with me just lying there, feeling miserable and full of self-pity. I have rolled over to lie on my stomach at this point, with my face buried into the pillows when there's a knock at the door. Grumbling at them to go away doesn't work as a voice comes from the other side.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
Wait, is that today? Oh yes. Bud caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Oh, there were complications that took longer than it usually does for us.
In a minute, Hansi.
Johannes, if you could at least make it through the end.
Tell them I'll be right down, Hansi.
The mansion grounds has been one of the first things to be fixed up aside from the bedroom. Although it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start and I could already see the flower patches. Luke's favorite daffodils stands out easily, having been transplanted from the past that used to live at the rooftop of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of the discussion. It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers, and quiet admiration. He is hard to miss, the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong. The big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It is a peculiar sight seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. Looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
The one and only. Welcome, welcome to Maison de Right. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed, but it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Hana, If I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hana.
Alrighty then. Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Hana.
Ah, Monsieur le photographe. Zachary posts quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him. His skills with the camera and experience in this industry at the very least. He is kind and courteous, listening and following us to lead us around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well whenever we cross paths with him. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They are quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he had procured several items to embellish the interior with. Bowls of fruits, lemons, trays with peppermills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards, and glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains are brought in for our kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights. Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
We go through the rooms one at a time while the roofers tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. The ballroom leads to the preparation with its grand design, although there's some trouble at first with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary's pops come in handy, considering how Johannes kept the place so neat and sterile one can practically eat off the floor. We carry on touring the house and taking pictures where we can, with exception to the rooms which have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he's using a traditional camera. I don't even know if film still exists. The way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation between the clicking of the camera. He even goes far as to talk about these terminologies like shutter speeds and aperture when I ask about the technical aspects. Can't quite see the picture as it is made, much like when I can't watch artists paint on their canvas. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft, this is exciting in its own. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for the both of us. Despite that, he has been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. But it is as we're taking pictures in the foyer that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And had I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have even noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. His finger doesn't move to release the shutter. Yet he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face. Gaze still firmly fixed to the viewfinder. His hands shake and there is a light sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
No response.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around, though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops, and everything starts again as I manage to choke
If
out.
you're sure.
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. He said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there was an unspoken agreement that we would not talk about what happened.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Part-time mostly?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been out of line, striking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regretted doing so. I see his shoulders slump and the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it.
Films, documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates. When I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Blue Fonzie la pleu, sombre de noir pretenokie. Dark blue, the darkest hours of the Black British. He speaks with passion of one who has gone through the very matter he is concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he is an amazing speaker if only I was so engrossed, listening. Prejudice and discrimination in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and higher chances of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks and people of color in general, still being treated like second-class citizens. All because of the color of their skin. It is all just positively riveting and sad. It comes to a point where he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he had just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all. You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
I want to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke and would he still have loved me if I was any lesser?
What was your home like? These things you talk about, it sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around. But a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards and stolen items out of pencil and expensive heirlooms.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully. It's just that...
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was a little girl all dolled up and treated like a fragile porcelain with nursemaids waiting to be hand and foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim. It would be handled to me just like that. And I barely saw my parents just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went out to who knows where they were needed to next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are.
Passive mood overcomes us, and there is a moment where neither of us are sure of how to go on from there. Things have gotten a bit too personal, but it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
Study makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one. She's as large and extravagant, and she's as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde Mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Blue Fonzie, The Darkest Hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy looking taken aback for a moment. Probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. He recovers quickly and after snapping a few shots to the clothes.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French. You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
No, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry. But I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It's been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee's certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the one sort who can probably befriend anyone. It's just a comfortable person to be around with. Yet too comfortable. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I found myself getting a bit too close without realizing. Give me this strange look until I back off. I go back to asking questions that I agreed to do as a little interview. It's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That is how I am. Zach. Zachary's the one that's being odd. Why anyone else would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works. If not, he needs to start. Perhaps somebody has shown him attention of his kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, and gentle swaying of hips as I move around. Zach grew and grew more red every time he noticed. Not being mean as I could find enjoyment in seeing him unravel. Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while I'm enjoying the outside view. At least that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I mean, I feel like you should. Stop.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
I don't think I want to know what happened if I done.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but
He gestures to the ring on my finger and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I am too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he painted it out rather than while being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
no. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Nope.
Not a one, ma'am.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
I can't help it. I really, really can't, and I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely by the catty smile on my face, it's obvious that I'm just pulling his leg. A laugh I failed to contain certainly gives it away, but still isn't obvious. Still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, what? No. Don't call your butler. She's Hannah.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man. I do not think he can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
You can? Oh my, wonderful serenades as well then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Of course, I'll even deliver them personally. Just, you know, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
As fate would have it, at the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johannes comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise of his brows, he's heard only the tail end of the sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof, Danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
To my amusement, he takes a step back, slightly placing him within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. Just as ever, he is quick to return with this sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hana. And you too, Hansi.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods, and the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes to the sweetest that I have ever seen. I linger looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle backpack safely secured in the basket by the front and suitcase up to the back. I watched as he went down the path back to Aslam village until he was nothing more than a blip in the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Entering the dining hall caused me so much confusion. Hannah met Zachary Steele, a freelance photographer from Luxury Living, an interior design magazine. Zachary was tasked to Hannah to take pictures of the mansion and its new owners. What should have been a professional meeting ended up being friendly and perhaps too personal. It is dark. For a moment I thought the electrical work is not up to par, but that clearly is not the case as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task considering the size and unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle and there is this distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there's a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
Drunk bastard. There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
What?
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hana, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Ouch.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that.
Huh?
You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
Should I tell the truth or tell a lie? Truth?
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Oof. That move. I have no reason to tell lies, it's like I'm guilty of anything. But as Luke's expression turns, it makes me feel like I actually am to blame for something. It is a way of making me laid bare with just a look. That really struck me when we first met years ago.
That giant Negro?
Oh, bruh.
You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
Okay.
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing.
You're implying something.
I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup. He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that. But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, One wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning. He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him. They were like nature, the grass and the trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now as I look at him, they're nothing but the same shade of green as the bloody damn drink in his hand.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hana.
No, I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Hangover forgotten during the course of this little spat. The man jumps to his feet and seethes. Looks like he's barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want.
Alright, stop.
And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes. Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous.
No.
Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper spent in silence was nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. The grand feast has been served, well, grander than usual anyway, possibly due to the Luke's complaints of stress. A platter of native oysters for starters and tranche of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon capers, and anchovy sauce remains. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. When our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with this warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There is no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. At the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it, as if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes me skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen. During supper, Hannah found Luke drinking absinthe, and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of his wife's activities, having not seen her the whole afternoon despite finishing Lecture 11's interview early, and there was the crying woman. And into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I'm curious and concerned, but there is no way I'm going down into a dark neighborhood underground. I'm less enthusiastic as Luke considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household's help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of them bathed, sobbing with their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who calmed them down, would help them figure out how to go on about things. Fortunately, I'm not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will call him out. I knocked 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results, and I've already touched the floor hatch for too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I learned from experience that people are so embedded to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out. And keep us engaged.
You in the cellar? Do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
With how long I was standing here, however, I was starting to think myself as a fool. And then I want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me. I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as they try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, Iota!
I freeze his hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone as quickly as it had seized me. It's only Johans I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I was... I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
Grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least, I like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern, as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand on my forehead before he worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicate of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. When I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure proved his words to be true, too. Oh, what would happen if I opened the hatch? The thing won't budge unless I had a key short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who I am to question someone who used to be a doctor. Am I just tired? That's it. Long day of moving the interview, dealing with Luke that has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johans. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house, or there's something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight.